Good morning. Greetings to every one of you. It's indeed a great pleasure for me to be part of this TEDx event organized by Jyothy Institute, Bangalore. Friends, I'm basically from agriculture background. Agriculture is my profession and working for farmers is my passion. And hence I have chosen to speak few things about millets. We are celebrating millets during this year. Millets are now being described as miracle crops, mighty millets, all those things. So, millets as miracle crops of the millennium and how the mission million millet farmers and consumers, we are trying to promote in this country and across the globe will help the small and marginal farmers of this country through an institutional mechanism called farmers producer organizations and how this effort will help us in addressing the sustainable development goals in a long way. Friends, we know that millets have been part of our culture. We have been using millets historically 5,000 years back. And of late, after the Green Revolution, we have forgotten millets because we started consuming more and more rice and wheat and other products, and we started slowly forgetting millets. And millets were looked down as poor man's food. And now after the post-COVID, especially post-COVID period, there's a lot of awareness about health among the people, and now we have come back to millets. And historically, if you look at these millets, they were basically spread more in the nomadic and tribal areas of Asia and Africa. And of late, they are now being spread across the whole globe. And if you look at the consumption patterns, they were mostly restricted to rural areas in the developing countries. And if you look at the developed countries, their usage has been mainly restricted to animal feed. Even now, they are not using it. And after the Green Revolution, there were a lot of incentives given to rice, wheat, maize, pulses, and other crops, other commercial crops. They were given subsidized inputs. They were given, a lot of incentives. They were also included into the, public distribution system. They got the priority. And slowly, and earlier we used to have about 40% of the total area among grains was occupied by millets. And slowly, over a period of time, say about 50 years, it has come down to 20%. And there's a drastic fall in the total, cultivation of millets. And this is basically, has really brought down the importance that was attached to the millets. And if you look at the current scenario, the post-COVID scenario, now people are starting going back to millets. Everybody is talking about millets. And we are also now trying to look at several aspects. For example, most of our beloved sisters and all there, they don't have time to, spend a lot of time on cooking millets and all, which take a lot of time. And now the lot of research that has been done, we have, you name it, we have in RT and RTS sector, ready to eat and ready to serve. So that's a very interesting thing that is happening around millets. And you go to any global, platforms. If you participate in any international conferences, at least you have 5 to 6 items made out of millets. That's a very healthy development. And go to any fancy eateries. Now there is a special board, and they charge you 2 times more than what they charge for other food. So it's also available. And if you look at the demand, there's 176% increase in the demand in last 2 years. And if you look at the export of millets from India, it's also gone up by 20%. And India, I tell you, friends, we have more than 80 to 83% farmers in India are small and marginal. It means they own less than a hectare of land. It's our moral duty. Every one of us have to do this, and we need to encourage them. So that's where we need to encourage small and marginal farmers. Small efforts are being made. People like us, government is doing, central government is doing, state governments are doing. I will try to, look at these aspects and how millets can be a great source. I would like to touch upon 3-4 important points. One, millets, by nature, they're extremely good. They can ensure the nutrition. They can ensure the good health. They can be extremely good crops for the environment. And we have several aspects of fight, between the states, between the countries about water and all. and they can be the great example to address all those issues. And if you look at the nutritional insecurity, it's an important aspect across the globe, both developing and developed countries. So it's a great threat to the world, the growing population, and millets can be an important solution to the nutrition security. So that's a very, very important because they can help us in addressing this issue across the globe. They're nutritionally superior. They are no way inferior to any of your cereals. We have been attached to this fine calorie-rich cereals in our food system. Go to any place, you find either wheat or rice products, nothing else. So if you look at this, they are extremely superior. They're nutritionally superior. They have unique qualities to, propose or compete with any of the existing crops. For example, they are rich in proteins, they're rich in essential nutrients, amino acids, everything they have. Nutritionally, they can be compared with the cereals. They have close to 7 to 12% of proteins. They have 2 to 5% fat, 60 to 65 to 75% carbohydrates, and they have 15 to 20% dietary fiber. This is very important because obesity is becoming a big problem nowadays. And if you look at the millets, they are the natural sources of calcium, iron, zinc, niacin, B12, folic acid, essential for all, aspects addressing the malnutrition. So hence, what I would like to say here, they are the only crops that can address the nutritional issues across the globe. And if you look at the millets, they are the saviors of health. And they can help us in addressing the Sustainable Development Goal 3, that's good health and well-being. For example, friends, many of us, our elders, our juniors, our seniors, they're all suffering from the lifestyle diseases. You take any example, and anybody, either he or she has a BP, blood pressure, sugar, cardiac-related issues, all those things. Millets can be a sustainable solution to all these problems. And if you look at the millets, they are basically, they are helpful for all human beings in maintaining a good health. And in that case, I would like to say, ulcers, gallstones, they are becoming very, very common. If you consume millets, they will convert or they will turn the stomach into alkaline, and that will never allow you to, produce gallstones or ulcers. That's a very important aspect. We don't know about this. And if you look at the consumption of millets, whole stone, whole grain consumption can really help us in preventing cardiovascular diseases. Anything that is related to heart, they can be the best examples to address these issues. If you look at the content of iron, they're very rich in iron, and they can be the best source to address the iron deficiency or anemic problems in this country, especially the women and the children. They're suffering from anemic diseases in this country. And we have a lot of allergic related issues, and millets can be the best sources to address most of the allergic sources. And then one more thing, they're extremely good in reducing the blood sugar content. They're extremely good for people with diabetes mellitus. Due to paucity of time, I'm not going into the details of it, but they can really bring several solutions to all the health related problems. You name it, we have a solution in millets to address. And if you look at the environment, this is a very important aspect. We have been now looking at across the globe, everywhere there are issues. Agriculture is one sector that consumes 70 to 80% of the fresh water for the production of crops. And that's a big threat to the environment. And if you look at the millets can be a sustainable solution to address these issues, especially the environment related aspects. And we can address the Sustainable Development Goal number 13, that's basically the climate action, and also Sustainable Development Goal number 15, which talks about life on the land. And I tell you, millets can be cultivated. 1 kg of millet can be produced with 200 to 300 liters of water. And if you take rice, it takes anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000 liters to produce 1 kg of rice. It takes anywhere between 1,500 to 3,000 kgs to produce 1 kg of sugar. And it takes anywhere between 900 to 1,500 liters to produce 1 kg of wheat. And you look at the water that is consumed by millets, it takes only 200 to 300 liters. And they are more healthier than all the crops that I listed. And can it not be a solution to the water problem? We are now fighting there's a fight between 2 states. This can be a great solution. And if you look at the crops, they are the best crops to be produced in the dryland areas. And if there's a long dry spell, they will go to rest period. The moment there is little rain, they jump back to life and they flourish. And they can produce something else, but they will never fail. For example, we have very short duration crops. For proso millet, it matures only in 70 days. Imagine, this can be a great crop. You can take 4 or 5 crops in one season. That's how we should look at it. And if you look at the amount of nutrition that they take from the soil is very, very minimal. Majority of the farmers do not even apply any of the chemical fertilizers to produce these crops. It means if you look at the pollution, if you look at the water pollution, soil pollution, air pollution, everything is minimal or many times it is not there. So in that case, it is millets which can be a great source to address all issues pertaining to environmental problems. And if you look at the greater consumption of millets, we have not been doing this. We never knew about this. Many people even don't know what are millets. India produces more than 10 best millets in the globe. And we can be the world leaders in the days to come. And we need to look at every opportunity to promote millets. We need to promote millets. We need to regain the market opportunities. You can generate additional revenue, and this can also boost the economic growth of our farmers and this country. And every country is looking at this. And the millet trade, for example, you have been seeing, rice has been for 30 rupees, 35 rupees, now it is 60 rupees, 70 rupees, 80 rupees. It means there's a big competition in the global grain market, especially the food grain market. And there are a lot of variations, and that can be addressed by the millets. Millets can be what I should say a balancing crops which can be produced with a very least cost, and they can give you the same nutrition that the so-called fine rich calorie given by the cereals. Friends, realizing all this, the International Year of Millets, it was proposed by Government of India to the United Nations. The United Nations accepted the Indian proposition, and they declared 2023 as International Year of Millets, and it's a great opportunity for India to promote the millets produced by the small and marginal farmers. And basically we are now talking about healthy millets and healthy people. And if you wish to be healthy, and if you keep your planet healthy, please consume millet. I have few ideas to suggest. Start with one item every day. At least your food table, your dining table should have one item of millets. Slowly you move to 2, 3, and then one day in a week should be complete millet day. So doing that, you are improving your health, you are helping the country to address several issues, and also trying to bring back the last glory of the millets. And I have done little small surveys to this sector. I've been working with close to 1.5 million farmers in the state of Karnataka, and we are now trying to help them, bring them into an institutional mechanism. We call that as a farmer producer organizations. We are now trying to collectivize them into farmers groups. And then in the state of Karnataka, I had the opportunity to guide at least close to 1,250 plus FPOs. We have been trying to build the capacities, help them, get linked with various actors in supply and market chains, guide the farmers to produce them in a very effective way. Apart from this, I also took it as a mission for myself. I called that as a mission million millet farmers and consumers. Idea is to reach 1 million millet farmers and consumers in 2024 by several aspects. I've been writing articles in the national and international journals, writing articles in magazines, writing regular columns in several Indian magazines. I also write several articles in e-magazines, and we have several Kannada magazines for the state of Karnataka. I write in that, and I'm writing weekly columns. Every Tuesday my column comes in Vishuvani, and it is completely about millets. And and recently we started one more YouTube channel. The idea is to promote millets, bring the glory that they can add to your life, and that is one area. And I also deliver a regular weekly television talk on every Wednesday in Nammakudla, and it is completely about millets. The purpose is to promote millets, create a lot of awareness among the people, and see that the benefits that they give it to the general public. And we are also preparing something else. We want to set up a millet food park in Karnataka. Also bring 10 booklets in English and Kannada on millets production, recipes for people, because how to prepare, cook good food out of millets, all that we are doing. I would like to conclude by saying three important points. Millets are the only crops that can address all issues associated with the nutritional security of this globe. Millets are the only crops which can address several issues associated with the climate change and the environmental degradation. Millets are capable of reducing the greenhouse gases, and they can promote sustainable crop production systems. They can keep our healthy soils more healthy, make them more healthy, and they leave lowest or no carbon footprints because they use less water, they use less inputs, they use less what I should say energy to produce, and they can really be promoted for ensuring sustainability of the environment. In that case, I would like to tell you one thing. Friends, it is the duty of all of us here. We need to promote millets. Let us protect our healthy patterns, the diet systems that our forefathers have given to us. In that case, let us bring back health and harmony among the people by promoting millets, by cultivating the millets, by consuming the millets, and by canvassing the millets. And that's where we can do a small bit to this great country, to the great globe, and for the benefit of small and marginal farmers of this country. Thank you one and all. Thanks for your attention.